Christmas Day, the 25th of December, and this upload is for the interest of mental health professionals. Um, as I've shared since 2017 and, notified the Mental Health Commission with regard to the violations that I experienced, um, I would not just be concerned about the Mental Health Commission's perspective, but also the perspective of mental health agencies and groups in Ireland and around Europe, and also with regard to authorities' um, opinion and perspective. Um, as I've stated, um, I'm a victim of hate crime, and it's not just crime or hate crime, it's crime also. So these have involved the very serious issue of human rights violations by a group of people in Tralee, County Kerry, that have perpetrated very serious offences. I'm just wondering, what's the perspective of mental health groups with regard to culprits of hate crime and individuals that go to the trouble of not only lying, not only uh, making false claims, not only falsifying information, not only intruding and making a nuisance of themselves on a daily basis, um, not only, you know, going to the trouble of causing human rights violations. Um, I'm wondering, would it not be more progressive and beneficial for authorities to confront culprits that are so busy causing these kind of troubles? And I'm wondering, would it not be helpful of mental health agencies and public mental health services to address the mental um, health of people that are causing these kind of problems for me as a woman, um, you know, and as a very capable and honest woman, I might add as well. Um, so it seems like this issue that's ongoing every day, and has been since I was, you know, married in 2015 and since I gave birth. Um, I'm just wondering, how are authorities facilitating what is happening? There's very serious misinformation being shared, and there's a very serious violation of privacy that has involved defamation. Now, I'm very interested in mental health. Um, as I've said, I've helped people with matters of concern for them since my own recovery. And I'm just wondering, why is it that mental health professionals aren't addressing the mental health issues of people causing violations and wrongdoings in society? Because, as far as I'm concerned, um, that would be a mental health problem. And, you know, it's very serious that people would go to the trouble of causing the trouble that they've caused for me. As regards authorities' um, stance in all of this, um, as I've said, from over a decade ago, I've experienced sexual assault and revenge porn. That's one issue, a very serious issue that hasn't been rectified. And now I'm presented with this issue of individuals, and I could think of other ways to describe these individuals myself, but I'm just wondering how are authorities um, feeling about this kind of an issue being caused in society? Is it tolerable to be violating a person's privacy? Is it tolerable to be defaming a woman's character? Is it tolerable to be falsifying information? Is it tolerable to be facilitating offenders of Irish constitutional rights and European human rights. Um, so, when it comes to mental health services, I think there's a big responsibility for the issue of culprits of hate crime to be assisted in, you know, trying to help them, I suppose, I don't know, in trying to find a better way of how to, live more peacefully and contentedly. Because as a peace project campaigner, I'm just wondering how difficult it is for people to mind their own business and mind their own lives and mind their own families and mind their own livelihoods. Because the issue of human rights violations in Tralee County, Kerry, Ireland, hasn't just been a matter for me. And people violating my human rights and my constitutional rights and obstructing intentionally what I'm entitled to simply to prevent me from attaining what I'm owed, and that is quite substantial, is, all very serious. So, these problems that are caused and that have been caused by culprits of hate crime and wrongdoings and violations, are authorities seriously going to facilitate what's happened? And do people need reminding of the spiritual violence that has been perpetrated against me and of what has already been stolen from me? Um, is it logical to worsen a problem that has already been very serious with the damages that have been done? Or is there any logic in this situation at all? So I'm just very curious to know, what are the individuals thinking they're gaining by, doing what they're doing? As regards artificial intelligence, um, it's very interesting to see the progress that has, gained in recent years. Um, 2017 to 2019 has been particularly interesting, but there's procedures, practices, and protocol that are meant to be ethical in such areas. So, I've concerns about all those kind of things at the moment, because all these matters affect what's happening in this violation and vendetta of human rights abuses. Um, the individuals that have violated my family life, my career, my earnings, my marital rights, my medical rights, um, obviously, you know, have caused very serious issues without providing any consultation, without any direct engagement, without any, you know, proper procedures being adhered to. So they're all offences. And I'm wondering, how are authorities facilitating these culprits while victimising the victim? What is their mental health like? And are the mental health services not concerned about facilitating such individuals that would cause these crimes and offences against humanity? Um, for victim support groups, even to be, ignoring the crimes that have been occurring, is very serious. It's very clear what, is happening. Um, there's legal matters, there's medical matters, there's privacy matters, there's mental health matters. Now, fortunately, the mental health matters for me aren't an issue. The mental health, matters of others causing these problems is the issue. So I'm wondering, why aren't mental health services confronting those individuals, and why are authorities facilitating these wrongdoings and offences against an innocent woman? Now, my right to freedom is not for bargaining and not for negotiation with other individuals without even having ever consulted me, or having never ever having engaged with me or interacted with me. So, the manipulation of others violating and offending is a very serious matter for all involved. My human right to freedom has already been violated twice since I got married. Now, because I'm a deserted wife, um, doesn't mean that, you know, my entitlements aren't to be recognized or respected. And because I was married and I am now deserted, even as a married woman in the 21st century, 2019, doesn't give anyone any authority or entitlement to just decide on violating and abusing constitution and declaration. So the people that have a difficulty distinguishing between legalities, mentality, propriety, and criminality really need to have a sit down with the experts and establish the offences that they are perpetrating in each category. Because as an adult woman that has experienced medical negligence for the past 4 years, and that's also experiencing legal violations, I find it really nonsensical of, and juvenile actually also, for people violating privacy and making false defamatory claims and calls that they have no business interfering in at all at all. So those thinking that putting an embargo on my rights just to put a halt to a problem, that a very serious problem that they've caused, isn't a very mature or respectable solution. So as a HAPS recipient, deserted wife, victim of medical negligence, victim of human rights violations, I hope authorities realise what they're facilitating when ignoring the uploads that I'm sharing, establishing the very serious offences being perpetrated. And as for victim support groups that have ignored this already for the past 2 years, I'm afraid their contribution hasn't been very supportive or helpful, and is therefore at this stage, you know. So, people are playing games with an innocent woman's life that they have stolen from, that they have exploited, whose faith and bodily integrity they have very seriously violated and damaged. And with all the progress and whatnot being espoused, the false facade of fakes and frauds and falsehoods um, is very unacceptable in any society. So, as a woman, deserted wife, mother, qualified professional teacher, um, why does Charlie Flanagan, Simon Harris, Owen Murphy, the politicians and the Doyle, etc., 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 regarding all the constitutional wrongdoings and human rights violations that I've experienced, think that this is an insignificant issue? The information, as I've said already, that has been attained unethically, illegally, and that has been falsified, and information that has been withheld from me, and people violating my privacy, this is a very serious human rights issue. So I would appreciate it if authorities would consider the problems being caused by those that are, perpetrating the offences and telling the lies and damaging innocent law abiding citizens that are mentally healthy. I would appreciate if authorities would, you know, once and for all address the individuals that are, disrupting society. Um, as regards mental health professionals, I hope they're able to discern the difference between a mentally healthy individual and an individual that is obviously displaying a neurosis with having falsehoods relayed on a daily basis. Um, Lying is a neurotic impulse and instinct by individuals that don't know how to tell the truth or confront their own, you know, So I'm just wondering, has everyone an understanding of how serious the situation is? Because I'm very annoyed about my spirituality having been violated. I'm also very offended that my bodily integrity has also been violated. Um, I'm also very annoyed about how people have exploited the issue of human rights and have violated the particular issue of bodily integrity. As a light worker, my body of light was destroyed, as I've explained, and I'm not pleased with how my gifts of light, blessings, and etc., have been manipulated and abused by individuals that have only prospered and made a mess of what wasn't theirs ever to have, you know, violated. So the authorities, by EU law, as a person that has complained to ombudsman with regard to the wrongdoings that I've experienced, as a whistleblower, there is EU law protection. And that doesn't mean some pathetic attempt by people making false claims and intruding and interfering and involving agencies that have no relevance in this situation. Um, there is a difference of all matters involved that just aren't able to be um, interconnected, that are all separate issues. The mental health issues are the people that are causing the problems. The legal issues are the violations that I'm experiencing. Um, the medical matters are not mental but physical that I've also been experiencing. So the last category, criminality of this situation, is that there are offenders in society causing very serious problems and disruption and telling very serious lies and defamation that authorities haven't confronted. So, with regard to my human rights, there isn't any person with any authority to put an embargo on me just because they don't like me and that they don't want to pay up to. Because I'm fully aware of what I've said already has been stolen from me. I'm very fully aware of my marital rights. I'm very fully aware of what is owed to me. So, this situation that has been occurring since I got married, after all my work, and after what I earned and achieved, to be disrespected and messed around with by people that, just don't obviously understand the significance of what they've destroyed and damaged. So, if the Taoiseach wouldn't mind, this is my request for the Government of Ireland to realise that the spiritual violations, the light body of Emer Griffin McElligott that was damaged and destroyed and exploited, um, as well as the medical negligence that I've experienced as a consequence, and the unlawful, intrusive, um, and damaging involvement of mental health services that had no business being near me at all, are all very serious issues for modern day Ireland. So I would appreciate it if you would actually confront these matters, besides listening to nuisances causing very serious issues in society. Because, as I've stated, um, the Ombudsman have been made aware of the wrongdoings that these people have caused. And it's very serious. Do you know? If these people are doing it to one woman, how many other women and men are going to be affected? Do you know? So the government have to really consider seriously how spiritual violence, bodily integrity violations, medical negligence, and exploiting all these kind of things, and as well as other more serious matters, as we're all aware of, have all been perpetrated in this town. And why haven't authorities confronted the culprits? And why aren't mental health people and professionals looking after the people that are causing this disruption? So I would really appreciate it if my privacy could be respected and that my safety could be safeguarded in society like all individuals are supposed to feel safe. And it's as simple as that. So on Christmas Day, um, the government really needs to just acknowledge this once and for all, because it's common knowledge the culprits are doing this. It's common knowledge, and it's a very huge deceit to society, and it's a very serious wrongdoing to have so many constitutional rights violated, but not just the Constitution, the Declaration of Human Rights. And as a peace campaigner, for a victim of assault to have been victimized like this, and for women to be facilitating this vendetta. So I hope everyone realizes how serious all of this is. And I wish everyone a lovely, happy Christmas.